Hi there, I'm Jessica Gregory. Welcome back to my EcoBuzz. To welcome in the new year, I wanted to introduce you to a series that we'll be covering this winter and spring called Know Your Water. Since, water is incredibly important to all of us, I thought it would be helpful to discuss different aspects of water and the water cycle that relate to all of us on a daily basis. From where our water comes from, to where it goes, to the life cycle of a lake, to how water quality is measured, we'll talk about it all. So what are we doing still standing here? Let's go!
In the post-industrial world, having clean drinking water or water available for everyday use is something a lot of us take for granted. Even developed countries like the United States still experience water contamination from lead, bacteria like E. coli, or chemicals such as PFAS.
No matter where you live, it's becoming more important than ever to know your water, what's in it, where it comes from, and how it affects your health. In this first episode of the Know Your Water series, we're going to take a look at where our water comes from.
In the United States, we get our drinking water either from surface water like lakes, rivers, or streams, or from groundwater. Groundwater is water contained underground in sediment layers. In 2015, lakes, rivers, and streams supplied the majority of water to public and industrial water systems and to agriculture. On the other hand, groundwater was used more frequently for domestic purposes, that is, by individual homeowners with a well on their property.
Now, if you're a homeowner and you have a well on your property, most likely that well was drilled down into the ground deep enough to intersect an aquifer, which is water stored underground. How does that water get there? Many aquifers get their water from rainwater that flows across and seeps down into the ground and through the soil until it hits an impermeable layer and can't go any further. We say that such an aquifer gets recharged by surface water. Other aquifers may be sealed off from surface water by impenetrable rock layers formed in bygone days, which means that once that water is gone, it's gone.
Groundwater is a great resource, but just because it's underground doesn't mean it's always clean or safe. Rainwater can pick up pollutants or bacteria from the ground before it filters into the soil.
Or high concentrations of naturally occurring minerals like calcium and sulfates can leach into the groundwater from surrounding parent rock. The age and condition of the pipes in your own home are also a factor to consider. If you have a well, it's really important to learn about the land use in your area, and you might even consider having a water test performed on your well water. Familiarizing yourself with the local geology and potential water contaminants in your area is also extremely beneficial. Try contacting your local conservation district to learn more. But what if you live in a suburban or urban area and your residence is connected to a public water system? Where does this water come from? Remember I mentioned earlier that most publicly supplied water comes from surface water sources like lakes and rivers?
In West Michigan, Lake Michigan is the most common source of water for everyday use. In fact, Lake Michigan alone supplies drinking water to over 40 million people.
But if you live in Grand Rapids, how does the water get to your home from the big lake? And is the water straight out of the lake, or is it treated before it ends up in your kitchen sink? Weeks ago, I had the opportunity to tour the Lake Michigan Water Filtration Plant, which is the facility responsible for making this happen in the city of Grand Rapids.
This facility is one of hundreds or even thousands that pull water from Lake Michigan and deliver it directly to your doorstep, more or less. First, water is pulled in from Lake Michigan through an intake crib that measures 60 feet across and is located about a mile out from shore and 45 feet below the surface. This water is brought to shore using low-pressure pumps called low lifts. From the low lifts, the water is pumped to the filtration plant using high-pressure pumps called high lifts. Since this water is still raw Lake Michigan water, it may contain solid particles or sediments that you don't want to drink. These are treated with aluminum sulfate, alum for short, which causes the particles to bind together. A system of large motorized fans mixes the alum into the water in large flocculation or sedimentation tanks and causes the sediments to collect along the bottom. This can also be accomplished using plates instead of motorized fans. Don't worry, the black substrates here are mainly carbon added for odor control. Sediments are decontaminated and transported to outdoor lagoons for storage. Eventually, the sediments are collected in huge piles and dried, then trucked away to the landfill. Meanwhile, the water is sent next to the filtration gallery where it passes through layers of sediments to filter out any remaining solids. The water must be treated with chlorine to kill any harmful microbes, and it is monitored and tested 24/7 to ensure it adheres to quality standards. Once satisfactory, the now potable water is sent to 5 million gallon holding tanks called clear wells until it can be pumped the 37 miles to Grand Rapids through a series of underground pipes. This system alone supplies an average of 58 million gallons of water per day to around 300,000 people in Grand Rapids and the surrounding communities.
Pretty amazing, isn't it? The next time you turn on your faucet, remember that the water running out doesn't get there by magic. It's a complex process, and it's one to be aware of so that you can take an active role in keeping your water clean and safe. Thanks for joining me today. Next time, join me again to find out where your water goes after it's been used in your home. Until next time, happy naturing.